You wake up warm. Maybe you don't even notice it. You pull a blanket over your shoulder before your feet touch the floor. If the room feels cold, you close a window, turn on a heater, or wrap your hands around a hot cup of coffee. Within seconds, the cold stops being a problem. Now imagine waking up tomorrow and every one of those comforts is gone. No walls, no electricity, no grocery stores, no winter coat waiting by the door, just endless snow, freezing wind, and one terrifying truth. If you fail today, you probably won't see tomorrow. For your ancestors, this wasn't a nightmare. It was winter. So the question is simple. For over 40,000 years, with no central heating, no insulated clothing, and no modern medicine, how did ancient humans survive winters that should have wiped them out? The answer is darker than most people realize. Because winter didn't just bring cold, it attacked with hunger, predators, darkness, and impossible choices. Most people imagine ancient humans hiding safely inside caves. That sounds logical. Here's what nobody tells you. Many caves already belonged to something else. At Chauvet Cave, archaeologists found thousands of cave bear bones, showing these massive animals occupied the cave long before people did. A fully grown cave bear could weigh over 1,000 pounds. Humans weren't always the hunters. Sometimes they were the intruders. So your ancestors built their own shelters instead. They stacked mammoth bones into circular walls, stretched thick hides across the top, and packed every gap with snow because trapped air works as natural insulation. At Mezhyrich, archaeologists uncovered mammoth-bone homes built around 15,000 years ago. These weren't crude huts, they were survival machines. But even the strongest shelter had one weakness: nightfall. When the sun disappeared, wolves, cave hyenas, and cave lions began moving through the darkness. That's why fire became humanity's greatest weapon. Not just for warmth, for fear. The light, smoke, and crackling flames warned predators to stay back. Starting a new fire with stone and tinder could take precious time, so many groups protected burning embers for days, carrying them inside bark or dried fungus instead of letting the flame die. Lose the fire, and winter suddenly became much stronger. Then came the real enemy: hunger. Your body burns far more energy in freezing temperatures, meaning every day without food pushed you closer to death. During Ice Age winters, berries vanished beneath snow, rivers froze solid, and migrating animals often disappeared for weeks. A single failed hunt could doom an entire family. Excavations at Dolní Věstonice show that hunters relied heavily on mammoths, reindeer, and wild horses because one successful kill could feed an entire community. But the meat wasn't the prize. The fat was. Fat contains more than twice the energy of protein, making it one of the most valuable foods in winter. Your ancestors slowly melted animal fat into a rich fuel they could eat or burn inside simple stone lamps for light. Nothing was wasted. After every scrap of meat disappeared, they smashed open heavy leg bones to reach the marrow hidden inside. Rich in calories and nutrients, bone marrow often meant the difference between surviving another week or becoming another frozen body beneath the snow. And when even that wasn't enough, winter demanded something even darker. Because here's what doesn't make sense until you think about it. What happened when the animals disappeared too? Some Ice Age winters buried entire landscapes beneath deep snow. Herds changed their migration routes. Rivers froze too thick to fish. Days passed without a single successful hunt. That's when survival became brutal. Your ancestors didn't just eat meat, they ate everything: the liver, the heart, the kidneys, the brain. Today, many of those organs are thrown away. Back then, they were some of the most valuable foods because they contained nutrients and fat that helped people survive the cold. Every part mattered. Every calorie counted. Animal hides became blankets, waterproof clothing, baby carriers, and shelter walls. Sinew, the tough tissue connecting muscle to bone, was dried into incredibly strong thread for sewing warm clothing. A single tear in a hide could let freezing air inside. Nothing was useless. Here's the part nobody talks about. Sometimes the safest place to sleep wasn't alone. It was pressed against everyone else. Families slept tightly packed beneath layers of animal skins, sharing body heat through the night. In many northern hunter-gatherer societies, even dogs slept beside people because every warm body helped keep the freezing air away. Privacy could wait, morning couldn't. But winter had another weapon: silence. One wrong step onto thin ice, one hunter separated from the group, one blizzard arriving too early. There were no rescue teams, no emergency shelters, no second chances. Think about that for a second. The greatest survival tool wasn't a spear, it was other people. At Shanidar Cave, archaeologists discovered Neanderthals with severe injuries who survived for years. One individual had lost the use of an arm and suffered major injuries, yet lived long afterward. Someone fed him, someone protected him, someone refused to leave him behind. That may have been humanity's greatest invention: compassion. But there is one discovery that still unsettles archaeologists today. At Gough's cave, human bones dating to about 15,000 years ago bear cut marks similar to those found on butchered animals. Some skulls were carefully shaped into cups after death. Most researchers believe this was rare. It was not everyday life. But it reminds us how desperate survival could become when starvation left no good choices. Winter pushed people to the edge. Some never came back. Others did. And every lesson they learned was passed to the next generation. Years later, another remarkable discovery showed just how advanced that knowledge had become. The frozen mummy known as Ötzi the Iceman, who died around 3300 BC in the Alps, wore carefully layered clothing made from different animal hides and grasses. Each material served a purpose. That wasn't primitive, it was engineering, built through thousands of winters. Winter attacked your ancestors with 4 relentless weapons: cold, hunger, predators, isolation. And they answered with 4 powerful tools: shelter, fire, knowledge, community. That's why you're here. Not because your ancestors were the strongest, but because they became the best at solving impossible problems together. So tomorrow morning, when you pull a blanket over your shoulders, step onto a warm floor, or wrap your hands around a steaming cup of coffee, remember this. To you, those moments feel ordinary. To your ancestors, they would have felt like miracles. You are alive because countless generations refused to let winter have the final word.